Hey guys, Mark here, and you can copy these nuts. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the concept of copying. Let's be real. If you look up any YouTube video, any concept, you're going to see a million people making the same videos, posting the same content, the same recycled bullshit over and over and over and over and over again. Everybody is copying each other. Nobody really has any idea why things work the way that they do. And this is because of the culture that has been created with the internet in general. You just look at what people are doing, and naturally, you just try to replicate exactly what they're doing. But here's the thing about copying that nobody wants to tell you. It actually could be the very reason that you have not seen the success that you actually want to see. And let me explain what I mean here. Have you ever seen this quote before that, success leaves clues? You look at the most successful people in life, you look at their habits, you look at their routines, you look at the way that they speak to people, the way that they think, that if you just take all of their habits and integrate them into your own identity, that you can have the exact same success that they do, right? Well, I'm going to be totally honest with you. Copying people in this way, it does work. But the huge caveat here is it only works up into a specific point. Because what happened when this whole ideology of just like emulating success or copying what successful people are doing basically created something that I like to call the copy economy, where everything at this point is just a copy of a copy of a copy. It's like if you were to use a physical copier, like a machine, and you put down an image and it scans it and then prints a copy, but then you continue to make a copy of a copy of a copy, the original image that you put in there at some point is going to become completely unrecognizable, to the point where the copies that you've been making don't even look like the original anymore. And this is the concept of the copy economy. And this is exactly where we're at right now. We have one guru copying another guru. We have one influencer copying another influencer, and there is just no single ounce of originality whatsoever in this freaking space. Honestly, in any space out there on the internet, because everybody thinks that you can just copy everything and ultimately get to the place that you want. But what I want to introduce you in this video is, number one, how you don't have to copy everybody, especially if you want to be first. Because what most people don't realize is that, yes, like I said, you can copy people. You can copy their ideas. You can copy their mindset. You can copy their business strategies. You can copy everything to the T, but you have to come to terms with this truth. You are going to be competing for second. The people that are copying are never going to be first. So if you're the person that's, copying this, copying that, just understand you're never going to be first, because the people that are first do something different. I want to introduce you to something here called the change curve. Now, think of any massive, huge technology that has entered society at some point. You could think of the internet. You could think of blockchain, crypto, and Bitcoin. You could even think of AI, because that is extremely timely as of right now. And anytime that you have something new enter the market, the first people are the ones that actually created that technology, right? These are what we call the innovators. But understand, as this is a bell curve, that is always a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of the total sum of people that actually use that trend, use that technology, right? The next group of people is where probably every single person who's watching this video right now is going to fall into. Either the early adopters, if you're a really good copier, if you're a really good copycat, or the early majority, if you're a pretty average copycat, right? So this up here, just for simplicity purposes, we're going to call these the copycats. Now, like I said previously, these copycats, they will never be first. They will never be first, because the people that are always going to be first are the ones that are actually coming up with new and original ideas, right? These are the innovators. And what's really interesting, because the whole point of me creating this video is I'm just so sick of any space. You see this over and over again, and there's just no ounce of originality. There's no ounce of authenticity. To be totally honest with you, it just pisses me off. And that's the real reason I'm making this video, because we're smarter than this and we can do a lot better than this. You can bring new authentic ideas, new creative ideas to markets, and just those will be like the new standards. So you'll be in first place and everybody is going to be copying you. You're not going to be the copycat. You're going to be the one that sets the trend. So the question is how do you actually become one of these innovators? Well, what I said earlier is a little bit misleading, in that I said that these innovators, they create these new ideas. And what I mean by that is, if you take the concept of, let's just say an idea or a trend, is it really something that's new? What does something that's new really mean? Well, we do know by the laws of thermodynamics that matter can be neither created nor destroyed, only transferred, right? So in that case, if ideas are simply an expression of matter, which they are, they're simply electromagnetic patterns that are happening in our brain, that's what an idea is, then ideas can't actually be just created out of thin air. They're already all out there. You just have to do everything in your power to bring it to your conscious brain and then eventually to the market, and then have all these people start to copy you. All these people here are going to be copying you, right? The way that you create something new is actually like a very simple equation. Let's say like this is my big experience bank, right? Like this is basically my brain that holds all the memories, all the experiences that I've had, all the strategies that I've tested and that have worked or have failed. They're just all stored in this little experience bank, and they'll be represented by all these dots here. Just imagine there's like millions and millions of them, and they're all tied together in this web. As I said previously, right? Ideas are not actually created, which must mean that they're transferred. So the concept of creating something new is actually super simple. In this experience bank, it's essentially taking two of these dots, right? Let's say these two unique experiences, two previous ideas that you've had, and then merging them together to create something that is completely new. That is the concept, right? If you look at any invention in history, it wasn't like there was no progress leading up to this invention, right? Even if you think of something as simple as the invention of the light bulb, if you break down the invention of the light bulb into its various component parts, there was things that existed way before the invention of the light bulb that led to that. We just happen to position multiple things in the same way to come up with something new, right? And the same is true here. And this is a really difficult thing to explain. It's a difficult thing for our mind to grasp onto. And so for that reason, I have probably one of the corniest analogies of all time. But if you've ever seen the movie Ratatouille, there's this rat, right, that takes cheese and he takes this fruit, and then he eats them both together in the same bite, right? It basically looks a little something like this, right? You take one thing, you take another thing, you combine them together, and it creates this completely new idea, completely new expression of something that you've never done before. Let me get that off my screen because that's probably one of the worst analogies I've ever made. But point being is that if you want to become the type of person that is on top, I'll be real, this video is probably not going to resonate with most people because they're okay with being B tier. They're okay with being C tier. As long as they get to this modest goal, then they're good. But for the very few people that are watching this video right now, and you're not okay with not being first, you're not okay with not being the absolute top dog, the champion, the number one person in your space, then you are really the person that I'm making this video for. Because like I said, when it comes to that curve, right, the only people that are going to be remembered, the only people that are going to be first are the people that do come up with these new ideas, right? It's not going to be the people that are the copy of the copy of the copy. It's going to be the people that are introducing new ideas to the market. Because what you'll probably realize is, let's take this like in the context of business, is if you're growing your business and you're copying this strategy, that strategy, that strategy, and this line essentially represents the growth of your business, it is going to work, right? I'm not going to knock the strategy because I've done it before. It got me to a certain point, but eventually my business just started to plateau like this. And then all those strategies that I was copying, just weirdly stopped working. They got me to a really good level, a level that most people would say is pretty insane, but eventually it stopped. And what used to work to get me here did not work to get me to the next level. And so what will actually get you to the next level, however, like if this is the ultimate line of like plateauing, the question is, of course, what helps you like actually break through and get to the next level? And that is literally just thinking originally and coming up with new ideas instead of being a fucking brain rot, no IQ having person that is copying every single thing in front of your face without understanding actually why it works. This is ultimately what is going to separate people that are good at what they do from people that are great. This is going to be what separates the winners from the fucking savages. So if that's you, then you need to take this advice truly to heart. It's a very like theoretical concept. Like it's very hard to bring this down and give practical examples because it doesn't happen a lot. The people that do come up with these new ways of doing things, like the trailblazers, they're extremely rare. But I know my audience, and I know that if you want to be that person, then you have to take this advice to heart, all right? And that's why I titled this video, Copy These Nuts, because eventually all this bullshit copying that you're doing time and time again, over and over and over again, it's going to die out. And that's even if it's been working for you up until this point already, which truthfully, it's probably not working that well. But if it is, just know, eventually that flame is gonna go out and you're gonna be stuck. And all this copying that you did basically led you nowhere. But if you want to get to the next level, originality, authenticity, and coming up with something new, you have to understand that all these rules that we have, like any industry whatsoever, all these rules were created by people that are no smarter than me or you. They just happen to create it because they had the balls to do so. So the question is, what is the type of person that you are going to be? That's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to y'all later. Run more ads. Peace.